John Nash Jr. is one of the most brilliant mathematicians of the 20th century. His work in the area of game theory and partial differential equations provided tremendous insight into the forces that govern chance and events inside daily life. Unfortunately, Nash developed schizophrenia in his 30s. These conditions took over his life for over 3 decades. Miraculously, he overcame his symptoms and went on to win the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Sciences in 1990. He passed away at the age of 86 due to a car crash in 2015. His tremendous story began in Bluefield, West Virginia, where he was born on June 13, 1928. Bluefield was a former gold town located in the North America. As a child, Nash was very introvert and quiet. His mother was a former teacher and pushed her son to read at age 4, learn Latin and skip a grade in school. John Nash's first hint of math talent came in 4th grade when his teacher told his mother that he couldn't do math. His mother found this humorous. She well aware that her son was going down his own path to solve the problem. When Nash reached high school, he solved teacher staff math problems in a few simple steps. He was one of the 10 students in the nation to be awarded George Westinghouse Award, which provided him with the full scholarship to the Carnegie Institute of Technology. Later accepted to the Princeton University for graduate school. This is where he found himself obsessed with game theory, which describes strategies of competition. The doctoral thesis he produced would eventually reorient the whole field of economics. Following graduate school in 1950, Nash took a job as a professor at MIT. He did not create a very positive reputation among his colleagues. He is described as brash, selfish, and extremely egocentric. Nonetheless, his colleagues respected him for the tremendous mathematical ability that he had soon after arriving at MIT. Nash met a 20-year-old El Salvadoran physics major named Alicia Lard in 1957. Nash proposed to her and they were married the following year at age 30. Nash was named as one of the brightest mathematicians in the world by Fortune magazine.
The year 1959 proved to be a very difficult year for John Nash. This is when his symptom of schizophrenia began. He was having hallucination of strange men that he believed were communists plotting against him. His behavior making it very erratic. He would write letters to embassies in Washington DC warning them of the situation. In May 1959, he was involuntarily admitted to McLean Hospital for 50-day observational period. After his release, he went to Europe for 2 years. He was in a constant psychosis during his time away from the United States. When he returned, his schizophrenia became worse. He was admitted to Trenton State Hospital in 1961. They are hindered insulin coma therapy or ICT for 5 days a week for 7 weeks. This is a very aggressive and risky treatment. ICT is a form of psychiatric treatment in which patients were repeatedly injected with large doses of insulin, which produce daily comas. Each coma would last up for an hour. Seizures often occurs before or during the coma. After his treatment, he was discharged from the hospital. His condition seems to be getting a little bit better, but John and Alicia got a divorce in 1962. Nash did get a job at Brandeis University thanks to his former colleagues. There's one condition to the job. Nash had to meet with psychiatrists who later would prescribe him antipsychotic medication. This optimistic time did not last long. Soon Nash stopped taking his medication altogether because he believed it got in the way of his thinking. The delusions and hallucinations soon come back to haunt Nash. He had no job and he had no home. Alicia took John back into their home in 1970s. Many look at Alicia as the woman who saved his life. He would have been homeless or poorly cared in a mental institution if it wasn't for her. Several years later, Nash would roam the campus of Princeton talking to himself and leaving cryptic messages on blackboards.
John? John? Hey, John, it's okay. I just heard what happened. I'm sorry, John.
I'm not a soldier.
John, hey, Nash. Nash, hey. Hey, you're all right. Nash, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great John Nash!
John?
He became known as the Phantom. Over the next decade, Nash very slowly began to improve. The delusions occurred less and less. Nash later describes his recovery as self-induced and he was sick of dealing with it, and all he wanted to do was get over it. Miraculously, he was able to continue his work in 1994 at age 66 and received the Nobel Prize in Economics at Stockholm, Sweden for his work on game theory.
Dr. John Nash, your analysis of equilibrium non-cooperative games and all your other contributions to game theory have had a profound effect on the way economic theory has developed in the last 2 decades.
Och sen den då geniförklarade John Nash, matematiker, formulerade sin spelteori. Sen dröjde det inte länge förrän han drabbades av svår schizofreni och var borta från forskarvärlden i 30 år, och först nu så har hans sjukdom släppt. Och det är väl, kan man säga, något.
Since then, Nash has returned to his office in Princeton and continued to explore mathematics. The tremendous story of John Nash was compiled into an award-winning book in 1998 called A Beautiful Mind. Then made another movie in 2001. The movie is loosely based on the book but does focus on Nash's mathematical genius and his battle schizophrenia. It is safe to say that John Nash is one of the most brilliant mathematicians in the 20th century.
Nash equilibrium is a key concept of game theory, which helps explain how people and groups approach complex decisions. Named after renowned mathematician John Nash, the idea of Nash equilibrium has been used in such diverse fields as international relations, psychology, and economics. Game theory in general looks at how individuals or groups make choices that will, in turn, affect other parties' choices. Nash equilibrium refers to a condition in which every participant has optimized its outcome based on the other player's expected decision. Imagine that 2 manufacturers dominate the toaster industry. Both Crispy Nicky and Jazz Oven make 1 million toasters a year for a price of $30 each and earn a profit of $10 million annually. Crispy Nicky knows that the market is bigger than this, however, and could decide to make 2 million toasters each year for a reduced price of $27. In this scenario, its profit would jump to $14 million. However, Crispy Nicky also knows that if it boosts production, its competitor Jazz Oven will follow suit. And with 2 million more toasters on the market, the price will drop to $24, and Crispy Nicky's profit would dip to $8 million, lower than it is now at current production levels. As it turns out, the 2 companies are already in a state of Nash equilibrium. Given the competing firms' expected response, neither business can make more money by unilaterally deciding to boost production. This example illustrates why game theorists look at decisions not in isolation but as part of a system of interaction.